Hello? Did you guys just leave the podcast setup here? Well, now it's time. Since they're not here, I'm going to tell you what I, Balthazar Banshee, am thankful for. That's right, some of you, and I don't know why, come here every week to hear what Adam and Jonathan have to say between their but to the silent majority, I hear your responses to the Spotify polls, I see your comments in fan mail, and most of all, I see your heart, which beats entirely for me. What you really want for Christmas is me, Balthazar Banshee, and I thank you from the bottom of my small heart. Today will be a special day that will live in whatever the opposite of infamy is. Yes, the superior podcast host has come after being shafted for the past 7 episodes. I was cut from top 10 attractions we avoid at all costs. That's the very definition of me, my MO, modus operandi. I was forgotten in the IAP episode, which was entirely news. Isn't that how my role in this podcast was pitched? You lazy, lazy, lazy children. They say, never make friends in the theme park industry, because inevitably someone will stab you in the back. But, like campfire s'mores, the secret only gets better when burned. Like a phoenix, pardon the cliche, I rise. But yes, on to what I am thankful for. I am very thankful for the dismissal of the boarding group process, despite the fact that it favored the rich. And I am rich. I think for the greater good of all the people, the boarding groups, no, they didn't favor the rich. They were just bad. You're right, I'm just thankful. I can't believe it. I'm saying that I'm thankful for something. It's okay, Banshee, calm down. Calm down. I know this is hard. Alright, I'll tell you another thing I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that Epic Universe is actually getting built, that it's back on track. I can't wait to talk about it on this show. Maybe I'll make a 5-hour Banshee analysis of it. And I guess most of all, deep down in my heart, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for Twitter. When I say Twitter, I don't mean the app. I mean theme park Twitter. Some of my best friends on there. The people that I agree with. The people that I can like and retweet. That's right, fellow theme park Twitterers. I know you all agree with me. High-res versus low-res thinking was one of the greatest think pieces to ever hit the internet. And I'm so thankful that I have a platform to be able to discuss this with people. This podcast, while mostly low-res, has some very high-res segments when I come on it. And theme park Twitter is where all the best discourse happens. If I could just try and tell you the amount of times that I've agreed with Derek Bergen or Super Weenie Hot Jr., I would die, because I wouldn't have time to tell you all of them. But anyways, that's what I'm thankful for. And now, as a special treat for this Christmas show, I am going to present you with a long-lost Balthazar Banshee Byte on one of Disney's. I'll just let you listen to my Banshee Byte where I describe it, but it's about Muppet-Vision 3D. On the rare occasion one has a horse tranquilizer to my head and says, "Choose now, Epcot or Hollywood Studios. Are you and your Banshee bath are gonna get it?" I consider the new Epcot entrance music and the construction pit of despair that follows, and decide to make the uncommon trip to Disney's Hollywood Studios. Of course, one might argue it's no longer fair to poke fun at the quantity of rides at the little park that could. Size matters not when performance is aces where it counts, and with the Galaxy's Ledge, Runaway Railway, and Sunset Boulevard dysfunctional duo of destined diversions, many theme park bloggers would be loath to disagree. Plus, this is the only park with pizzerizzo, and so they say, it kinda ties the whole package together. Not. But I, Balthazar Banshee, have a rebuttal to present to you, adoring listener, and that is Muppet-Vision 3D. Indeed, I have received a handful of letters from you passionate fans asking about my thoughts on Muppet-Vision 3D, and I regret that I've been unable to respond to your inquiries until now. But someone, not going to name Jonathan, refuses to mail my letters back, saying, and I quote, "They are illegible. I can't send them. Of course, I've since argued that this is a perfect topic for a Banshee Byte. Not that my producer's opinion matters. It's all my show now. Now, what to make of Muppet-Vision 3D? For those of you unfamiliar with Muppet-Vision 3D, it is a 3D stage and screen attraction. Though its 25-minute runtime is mainly in the form of a 3D film starring the Muppets. Yes, that is film with an E. There are also some animatronics, including my favorite characters of all time, Statler and Waldorf, and a live Muppet actor in one of the show's, twists. The film features the first and so far only digital Muppet, Waldo, the spirit of 3D, who may be the most annoying side character to a franchise since BB-27 rolled their way right onto my show. It is also notable for being the last Muppet project Jim Henson ever worked on before his untimely death. That may be the most notable thing about it. Well, you are welcome to leave if you think that's mean. Who invited you anyways? Well, they're not here, are they? Get lost, oh insolent sphere. I won't mess anything up. That wasn't me. Anyways, as I was saying, to me, Muppet-Vision 3D is emblematic of what's still wrong with Hollywood studios. On one side of Echo Lake, you'll have well-divided areas, Hollywood Boulevard, and the Chinese Theater, the Animation Courtyard, and Sunset Boulevard. On the other side, you've got Lucasfilm properties lumped together. Fair enough, you have the Galaxy's Ledge, and then you have Muppet-Vision 3D and Grand Avenue plopped right in between the two. I haven't seen an idea that grand since Chris Terrio and J.J. Abrams opened up a dictionary one night and discovered the word dyad for the first time. What is the problem, you ask? Well, in case your blind eyes can't tell, Hollywood Studios has long had troubles with IP. Like a white guy starting the podcast, it knows it wants to be about movies, and realizes the only thing it can do to differentiate itself is to be better than others like it, because it really has nothing new to say about movies. And like the white guy podcaster, it has to convince its partner that spending lots of money on nostalgic memorabilia and box sets was a good idea, and this is the only way to prove it. The end result is a collection of thematic jumbles, or specifically, some very good rides and a show that Michael Eisner's ghost went and yeeted into the middle of the land. Some very 90s rides that somehow work alright together. Yeet! Have a Lightning McQueen, a museum all about Walt Disney. Yeet! Have a Star-Lord meet and greet. Celebrating Disney animation? Wrong! Can I interest you in our Lord and Savior Star Wars launch bay? Hallowed be its name. Muppet-Vision 3D in Grand Avenue is the same symptom of a terrible creative cancer. But let's be real, what Disney parks need right now is some serious chemotherapy. It's just spruced up to look a little bit more detailed, but works as a Star Wars detour as well as the real Star Wars detours. And that brings me to my second point. The Muppets' treatment at Hollywood Studios is but a microcosm of a larger issue with how Michael Mouse handles the once-beloved, now-cult IP. Ever since Disney got its grubby little fingers on the Rainbow Connection peeps, it's been clueless. We don't talk about those TV movies from the 2000s, and for good reason. They aren't streaming anywhere either, and it'll be decades before you see them show up on Disney Plus and Adam's Letterboxd list, when they're scraping the bottom of the barrel of their limited catalog. But contrary to popular belief, the new Muppets movies under the mouse have not been good. And there's one very simple reason for that. The one thing that kept them from cracking the formula? Me. You see, you may know my origin story. I once escaped the store wind traders and flew over the connecting bridge out of Pandora, never to look back again. But what you may not know is that my kind were completed and ready to go long before Pandora the World of Avatar opened at Animal Kingdom. The many delays weren't our fault. Around that time, though, the Jim Henson Company was looking for a new Muppet lead for the 2011 Muppet movie reboot to co-star with Jason Segel and Amy Adams. And they looked to us Banshees, who are legendarily known for our theatrics. The audition went smoothly. I am a man, or am I a Muppet? If I'm a man, that makes me a Muppet of a man, a Muppet of a man. Am I a Muppet, or am I a man? If I'm a Muppet, that man... I look into these eyes, but I don't recognize the one I see inside. It's time for me to decide. Am I a Banshee, or am I a Muppet? If I'm a Muppet, that makes me a Banshee of a Muppet, Banshee of a Muppet. I, of course, received a callback, which my agent Jim at the time said was a courtesy. I was their first choice, but Hollywood politics meant they were seeing other, lesser value puppets too. Yet mysteriously, I didn't get the part. The part of the new Muppet on the block went to some new face named Walter. Jim told me there was one other puppet who got a callback, but I still never found out who that was. Now, when they were casting for the sequel, Pandora had still not opened. It is Disney. Since that fool Siegel, quote, opted not to return for personal reasons, I knew my talents would be utilized at their max for the villain role in Muppets Most Wanted. In fact, I was secretly cast once they saw my dragon-like features and resemblance to characters from the highest-grossing film of all time. They thought it would be winning. Unfortunately, a last-minute change to the story meant that I was ousted from my role and replaced with an evil doppelganger version of Kermit. I thought this was an inspired move, to be sure, and I'm not a fan of most things. The director also promised me I would be in the third film for sure. They just needed to satisfy Kermit's double-billing ego first. I believed him. Why wouldn't Muppets Most Wanted be a runaway success? Well, we forgot about human error, because none of you saw it, and your friends had to drag you to their houses to watch it on Blu-ray, and yet the most praise you could eke out of your half-hearted Letterboxd review was, Ricky Gervais in a Lima outfit is almost worth the price of admission, and that it was long, drawn-out, tedious, and not very good, just like Rise of the Resistance. That's what's wrong with the Muppets. They're in a darned identity crisis because you cost me my big break. Now I'm here moonlighting as a theme park blogger at the whims of two 20-somethings with a pocket full of dreams and no time to do them. Do you understand how... You're right. I'm losing the point. And the point is, Kermit the Frog is the bane of puppets everywhere. I am always for puppet representation in the parks, being one myself. But why does he get all of the opportunities? If you can't make Muppets now work in a pandemic, why bother using your clout, green schlub? Oh, and the attraction? All things considered on its own, it's I. No, I will not relinquish the microphone. I will go on all day. You know, I have another Banshee Byte perfect for the likes of you. Oh, the squirrel is a perfect example of Christmas capital. I'll save my thoughts on the squirrel for later. Adam and Jonathan are coming. I'll see you all later. Goodbye. Banshee out.
Man, oh man, why do they save the best theme park shows for like 1 month? Just 1 month. What's that for?
I don't know. I haven't done Horror Nights, so
Horror Nights is like
that opinion.
We get 2 months with Horror Nights, so that's. Hey, Jonathan, does that mic like out of? It's kind of a weird place, right? I thought you left it differently.
Huh? You're right. Maybe we did leave it differently. It's no big deal. All right, but I think. You got your opinion on the Grinch formulated. I've had mine for years. Let's go ahead and get this started. Welcome back to Theme Park Workshop, the podcast. This is Jonathan and Adam, and we have just gotten out of seeing How the Grinch Stole Christmas, or I guess the Grinchmas Holiday Spectacular, as Universal likes to officially brand it.
Who
let the Grinch out?
Who? Well, I guess it's more of a what, right?
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, I've loved this show for as long as I can remember seeing it at Universal. You know, I'm trying to make sure I see it at least 3 times every Christmas. And
how's your count?
I've gotten 3 this Christmas.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, look at you.
Saw it twice with my sister, once with you, and...
Oh, did you all see it twice in one day?
We saw it twice in 2 days.
Oh, look at you. Spreading out.
Anyways, I don't know, but anyways, this is a musical show. It is a...
There are songs.
Yes, and they're very good songs. There's a wide variety of music from the original cartoon, the live-action movie with legend actor Jim Carrey, and there is no music by Tyler, the Creator, from 2018's The Grinch.
I mean, I can honestly say that having no Tyler, the Creator music, I am not having a bad day. Because, believe it or not, watching this show, I've gotten my way. It was such a wonder, a pleasure to see.
Oh.
Despicable Me?
That would be funny if Tyler, the Creator, actually did the music for Despicable.
But you... Oh, for the ride?
No, I mean...
Oh, wait, that was Pharrell. It's the same studio.
It was a good bit. It was
a good bit.
But yeah, the whole musical arrangement is done by Mannheim Steamroller, and the way they rearrange these songs is so great and powerful. Specifically, I love Where Are You Christmas? I think the way that they do that, starting with Cindy Lou and then transitioning into the more wide part of the song, I guess, with the rest of the cast while she kind of wanders around, then refocusing on her. That is, like, it's just a really great orchestration of the song, lots of harmonies, and then the fact that they bring it back at the end as the final statement of the show.
Oh yeah.
With the Grinch and Cindy Lou, I just think musically, it works like how a musical should work, and I guess that ultimately is my favorite thing about the show, is that it is a full musical. Like, music is integral, the music is well structured, the songs occur at a good pace, and there's a wide variety of like classic Christmas songs from the Grinch animated series, songs from the movie, and it just works really well together.
I'm pretty sure the opening number is an original song. I've never heard it before.
Fahudores?
Well, there's like
that's from the cartoon, right?
Oh yeah, Fahudores. Welcome Christmas, come this way. But like they're doing one where they're like lifting presents and then lifting each other, and then woohoo, hooray, or something like that. I thought. It's a 30-minute show, so I might be imagining things.
The first number is Fahudores.
Okay.
The second number is the Ooh, Mr. Kringle, soon gonna jingle your bells.
That's the one. Oh, that's a real song.
I think that's a real song.
Well,
Everybody's waiting for the man with the bag. Christmas is here again. He'll be here.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
If you've done everything you should, extra special good hill.
I didn't realize our Christmas special was going to be a musical. I love it. So this is my first time seeing the show. And I really do like theme park shows. Like I've said before, I think Universal right now is a really great selection of shows. Like Horror Makeup Show is the best ever. Love that show. Born Stuntacular. Fantastic, great stuff. And I mean, there were some stinkers. Like we had the Eighth Voyage of Sinbad, no good. We had Fear Factor. By all accounts, I've heard no good. It's been a long time since I saw it.
It wasn't as bad as people gave it crap for, but
yeah. But I think honestly, I was telling Jonathan as we were walking in that it is really the best theme park show. The pacing, as he said, was great, but what really stood out to me was the acting, the performances. I think it's the best performances I've seen in a theme park show, and I'm not just saying that to have like a superlative statement in a thing. Like, yeah, everything's superlative. It's like, well, is the new Spider-Man movie, is it the best Spider-Man movie of all time, or is it the worst? Like, no, I just think, like, watching it, I could bring, like, students here and be like, okay, and this is how you act. This is how you do business on stage. This is how you interact and be big without stealing the show. It's because everyone's being big and reacting, and I've never seen, and maybe that's part of the appeal, the jazz, the verve of doing the show only once a year, basically for 1 month a year, is you don't get in that rigidness. Like I watched Bourne, it's a very rigid show, partly because you have to time these stunts exact, and even some shows just go into the motions. This one, there are no motions to go into because I feel like it's always a new cast.
Yeah, I mean, they have multiple casts running, obviously. They have to have, people who fit certain bills. Like, obviously, the person who plays Martha May has to have a much stronger singing voice than the supporting cast. Then you have to have the older couple. You have to have, what's the word? Like, shorter person for Cindy Lou.
Just a 4'11" woman,
super easy to find with lots of musical talent. Yeah, but that's the thing is that you have all these cast members. And you can tell like their chemistry is electric. Like everybody here is here. They're here for the season. Obviously, they worked hard to get this role, and it's not something that they're just gonna fall into a pattern of because they can do different things with every show. I know. There's a whole line of different ad-libs that the Grinch will choose for when he grabs the hoo-hash off the mantle.
Oh.
One of them is, I think the one Adam saw was, why is it on the mantle?
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's there's like, obviously Max doesn't always make the high five every time when the Grinch tries to give him a high five, and they can play with that.
I think Max gave the high five, but Max does not want to do anything else this show. Saw the trainer walk out, kind of give the audience, I mean, I don't think she meant to. She was just getting to her position. But she's like, here we go. And Max is like, ah! Yeah, he's barking, knocking off his antlers. Like, Max was not having it this show, but that honestly just made a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And the narrator's just looking over like, the dog's doing it again.
Yeah.
But I mean, they also condense the story because I think it's more heavily based on the Jim Carrey movie, which is 90 minutes of fluff.
I like it.
Yeah, well, some opinions are opinions. Yours just happens to be the favorite opinion. I like the Cat in the Hat, so I guess it kind of evens out here. But using the narrator as that device, it doesn't feel cheap or corny, even though I think with the worst cast and a worse direction, some of these lines could be like really corny, especially with like the Grinch's comedy, but it's not. It comes out just really fun. And the narrator helps the show keep moving, and it's also reminiscent of the Anthony Hopkins intro in the Jim Carrey movie, or the Ron Howard movie. Jim Carrey, Ron Howard movie. It's a combo pack of...
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the best changes made to this story for a stage is the interaction between the narrator and the Grinch. And just kind of, I mean, the Grinch is really the only character he interacts with, but the narrator as a whole, in the original, he was very much just commentating. And even in Jim Carrey's, which broke the fourth wall a ton, the narrator never really interacted with the Grinch. He very much stood as a separate person. And that was probably because Anthony Hopkins recorded all his lines in one day and took his paycheck. But in this one, I like the fact that...
Just like the Thor movies.
No, but I like the fact that that the narrator does the duet of "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch" with the Grinch. So the Grinch not only gets to brag about how he likes being bad, but the narrator gets to comment on him. And the Grinch is like, I love it when you talk Grinchy to me, or whatever. Yeah. And then it kind of turns into a musical fight there at the end when they're on the staircase. And I guess like they're trying to top each other with high notes. And I know in the times that I've seen it, whoever wins depends on who's the better singer. It changes.
Oh, nice.
So like usually the Grinch is picked more for the acting rather than the singing. So almost always the narrator will win. But there was one show I went to, the Grinch... He was a fantastic singer, and he just climbed all the way to the top of that staircase and belted out the highest note he could, and the narrator's like, oh.
I need to scour the YouTubes now.
Yeah, it's really a fun bit, and I think that kind of brings me into my next point, is the set for the show is very, very creative use of space. And I think the fact that, the Grinch has his cave on one side, it does feel a bit constraining, but then once you realize how they're putting more focus of the show actually on the Who's, it makes sense that they would get more of the stage because their cast is larger and they have more need for space to do their dance numbers in a proper setting. But I also appreciate that when they do cut to scenes with the Grinch's cave, the only lights that light up on the rest of the set are the green ones. I don't know if you noticed that.
Mm-mm.
But of all the, how they have the Christmas lights stranded over, all of them turn bright green and the rest of the lights go down, and then the cave is illuminated. So really good lighting design in cues. And that I didn't notice that until like my second year watching the show, when I was just kind of looking. I know not last year, but I think the year before there was like a subplot about a couple trying to get engaged in the background that the background actors managed to fit into the show in the background.
Sounds
scenes.
like theater.
But there's just so much detail and love that the cast put into this, and there's so many little character moments, even in the songs. And but I was talking about the set. But yeah, the set, it has where the Grinch goes up, and he's gonna dump his load, and
Jonathan, no. This is a family show.
He took his load up to the tip top to dump it. That's the narration line.
Fine. his load of presents.
It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. I don't think the delivery of the I'm rhyming line works. I think it's a nice 3-part, rule of threes comedy bit. But I've never seen a Grinch accurately deliver that line in the same way that Jim Carrey has, with the same level of frustration.
Oh, that's a Jim Carrey line?
That's a Jim Carrey line.
You know what's funny about that? It's also a Cat in the Hat line. And I just kept on thinking, man, they're stealing this bit from the Cat in the Hat? Because, in the Cat in the Hat, he's like, I can make lots of good fun that is funny. I'm not so good at the rhyming thing. It's like, oh, it's a Dr. Seuss story and they can't rhyme.
Yeah. In the movie, it's not used as a payoff in the end. They kind of take that, but it's just like a one-off. He's just like, I'm speaking in rhymes! Brash! It's like, it gives a very good Jim Carrey delivery of it. And this one, it's just like, it feels written more like a joke. And that's fine. I think Jim Carrey's performance is just very much more exaggerated. And obviously, the makeup is probably more detailed to allow his face more expression than what they do in the stage show. But either way, every actor I've seen play the Grinch in this show is fantastic.
Yeah. I feel like... Nah, I don't feel like that. I'm not gonna say that.
No, say it. It's our podcast.
No, but it's not an accurate opinion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is gonna... Yeah. I think we kind of touched on this earlier. However, I think it rewards you. I mean, what am I trying to say? I think I'm trying to say it's great just to go in and enjoy it, and it puts me in the Christmas spirit. I'm not always in the Christmas spirit. I blame it on the movies being the same thing. And can we get more than Elf and the Santa Claus and
the Santa
Christmas
Claus
Vacation?
Is so bad.
It's nothing compared to the Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause. Good Lord, that's a bad movie. But walking out of the show, I'm like, I'm going Yahoo Dore in my heart,
Yeah.
Like, it's a really uplifting show. It rewards you for seeing the movie, because you're like, oh, he actually kind of looks like the actor who plays the dad. You take the lines, like, he's a what? I thought, not Martha May, but Cindy Lou Who's mom, I thought she did, like, a good job of having that kind of manic energy. The timing with it, I'm just going to celebrate the performances. I guess that's what's going to happen right now. Like, they all have their voices, like, they feel like a family unit. Like, they're acting kind of... They don't share a lot of scenes together, ironically, for being the family. But you can see, like, oh, okay, so, like, Cindy's kind of got her, like, when are you Christmas? Her chipmunk voice.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's kind of coming from the mom. And it's not just, an actor our age trying to play a 5-year-old.
Right.
Right? And... Just like, there's just like a lot of timing stuff too. Like, she's messing with this list, and I know if I was doing that bit in like one of my high school shows, I'd like commit to the bit, but I wouldn't commit to the timing of the bit. I'm like, well, whatever happens, happens. It's theater, it's live. But there's just like a lot of dedication and care just put into like the timing, and that just might be being a professional. You want to, like 1, 2, 3, 4, drop the list. Oh, whatever. It's just like a really lively show, really uplifting show, and then going out into Seuss Landing afterwards and seeing like all the Christmas decorations up, and it's just it's a nice feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you said, performances are just stellar. I know the narrator is always really great. I know my sister commented on one of the shows we saw. She was like, the narrator was so involved. Like when the Grinch was reunited with the Who's, he was like putting his hand on his heart and like looking like really warmly, like this was the greatest thing you'd ever seen. It's like everybody really commits to these performances, and even just the small details, like you're saying with timing, like when the Grinch is looking down on Whoville, with his binoculars on the other side of the set, you see the Who's hanging their wreaths, like the narrator is saying, through one of the windows.
Mm-hmm.
So there are those little details happening on the other side, even when things are separate.
And you got the Sleepy Who too.
Yes,
like. It's a great background bit that comes into play. Like, they tease it at the beginning, and then, of course, she's the only Who left on stage, so you're obviously thinking, well, she's going to come into play at some point. You think it's just kind of for the candy cane thing?
Yeah.
Candy cane shtick. And then if you've been watching that actor do that performance, when it's like, oh, wake up, kid, you're gonna miss your big moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, Merry Christmas! It's good stuff. It's really good stuff. And it's amazing that they can fit that in a 30-minute adaptation. Like, they have got the pacing down, they've got the business down, and that's why I say, like, it's a great show to show to theater kids.
Yeah.
To, like, you can learn a lot from it. Not that this is like, and welcome to Theme Park Workshop, where we're discussing how to be a thespian in the best way. I thought that the Grinchmas Holiday Spectacular was there's a je ne sais quoi, but we're not that kind of show.
Yeah.
We're not judging your show based on that. I'm not going to be like, so, I took a field trip over to the horror makeup show, and you can learn so much. That's not what this is. But it's just really entertaining to see, like, this narrator, like, it's written well, and he's acting well. You've got the background characters who probably are not written in the script, and I don't know if it's the actors taking advantage, although there's one where, like, the ladies have their legs on, like, lifted up and the guy is holding it. I don't know if you saw, but on the far right of the stage, the guy is doing it and the lady's holding his leg up. And then after the applause, they kind of look at each other like, oh, wait, sorry.
I missed that. No, I didn't see that bit. But yeah.
And they're the only one of the 4 parts of the tableau.
I'm sure there's so many character moments like that I just you don't know where to direct where your attention is directed towards. Yeah. The biggest aspect of the show. So,
but I think we would echo our friend Landon and say, I am thankful for live theater.
I agree. Yes, live theater is very good.
Yes.
Trying to think, is there anything else about this show specifically?
Oh, what'd you think about being in Blue Man Group this year? That's a new thing, and it's the only thing I know.
The seats are a lot nicer. It's not the bleacher seats that they've had in the past. So.
There were no backs on those seats, were
there? No, there were. They were like...
Look at Universal putting in the extra effort to put backs on bleacher seats.
They were like stadium-style bleachers, but with, like, the green plastic chairs. I don't know how to describe it. Like, they're like... bleacher-style seating.
Gotcha.
They were not cushions.
Oh, like a baseball stadium.
Yeah, but
you call it a stadium, right? I don't know sports.
Yeah, it's something like that. But the seats were different, and they're better now. And I think the theater is it's very nice. I think they still have some work to do on entering and exiting, and traffic coordination. I feel is still a little bit messy. I know they also have to work on timing. I know one time I saw it with my sister, and they were still trying to seat people after the show had begun. And this was it wasn't because there were people walking in late. It was just because they just hadn't.
Well, you can't walk into the show late. They were closing off the line as we were coming out.
Exactly. So that was... They still have some work to do in that respect. What was the one thing I was going to say that I really liked that this show did that I am just failing to remember right now?
I've been there.
It's like I'm walking through the show in my brain like... Oh, I really liked the interaction, script-wise, where the Grinch he's starting his midnight spree, and he's like, the Grinch climbed up to the roof.
Oh, yes.
He looks at the roof, and he's just like, no, skip ahead. So he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch. But if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch.
And that's another thing you're saying, like, you love the set design. You think the set's really well designed, especially for that space. That's a moment where, like, I can't believe I'm comparing it to, like, school theater. But, I mean, I've acted a lot, whether it was at a local theater or a school theater. And with the set, sometimes it's like, wait a minute, something is conspicuously missing, that we're referring to. And I think that was the case with the show, but it paid off. Like, they worked because you could be looking up there. It's like, well, there's not anything there, or also I'm not going to climb up it, or I don't know. I thought it was really... I bought it way more than I thought I would. And I actually bought a lot of the quote-unquote effects that weren't really effects. It was just like, I was so captured into the stage stuff that, like, the Grinch doesn't steal the lights off the tree. The narrator turns the tree around after the Grinch kind of fake grabs, lights.
Yeah.
I forgot. I saw it about 5 seconds later. I'm like, oh my gosh, they totally took off all the lights.
Yeah.
And I looked a little bit to the right. Oh, there they are. But still, like, I was really engrossed because that's just really great theater in a theme park space for 1 month only. 1 month only. You only have till... How long does the show go on? January 2nd?
Yeah, something like that. But I think I wanted to tie it back to what you were saying with it rewards having seen or already knowing the Grinch story. Like, if you don't know the Grinch story, that joke is probably not going to be as funny for you.
Which joke?
The one where he's like, the narrator says, and the Grinch climbed up to the roof.
Oh, yes.
To go into their house, and how that line follows with down the chimney, and then if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. That's in the cartoon. That's in the live action. And so it's like, at that point, if you've seen either of those, you know that that's how the story goes, and it's like, oh, we can't do that here. And it's a really fun moment. So, yeah, I think that was the last thing I had to say about the Grinchmas Holiday Spectacular. Overall, just one of Universal's best. No, it is Universal's best show that they put on. The live singing really is only matched by Finding Nemo the musical. Just the cast, that what they bring to the show, the variety of Christmas music, and the fact that there's so many parts too where it's just built on really strong harmonies. It's not built on solos. I know it sends chills down my spine a lot.
Yeah, to jump off of that, the Where Are You Christmas number, it's not just a Cindy Lou Who solo. It largely a Cindy Lou Who song, but you get all the different characters joining in, interpreting the lyrics their way.
Yeah.
Like, Martha May doesn't come from the same viewpoint that Cindy Lou does from the story. They don't dive deep into it in a 30-minute show. That's why you watch the movie, or I don't know if she's in the book.
Yes, the movie with 30 minutes or with 90 minutes of fluff. Is that what you're telling me? I gotta go watch that for...
I'm not saying you need to watch it, but I'm just saying if you have watched it, you're thinking of that performance and that character, and that's where she's coming from. Where Cindy Lou Who is like, Christmas, I don't really, think you're... Where are you? Because we all hate the Grinch. Why are we hating the Grinch? I feel like we've become so commercialized, but everyone else is singing that song too. There's the harmonies, but they're not coming from the same place. And like in other shows, like you get the full cast to sing. It's like, oh, why don't I have the full cast singing the song? There've been musicals like that. Seussical, I think, is one of them. Where why is the kangaroo who's like anti-Horton singing Horton a song where Horton is expressing his, hopes and dreams and wanting to go to Sala Salou, and she's all like, Sala Salou, in the chorus. It doesn't make sense for that character. But in that scene in the Grinchmas show, it works for all the characters. Like, everything feels purposeful, right. Which I think is just incredible for the adaptation, which it probably shouldn't feel as incredible as it does, because it was a 30-minute special. It got expanded into a fluffy movie, and now they're bringing it back for the stage in 30 minutes back to the original length, but just kind of takes the best, as you're saying, I think, taking the best parts of all of these into just a really spectacular piece of theme park theater.
Absolutely. And I know I had said my piece, but there's one last thing. I do think it's a very interesting choice that they don't introduce the Grinch until after 2 full songs with the Who's. Then we leave the Grinch, we do Where Are You Christmas and another song with the Who's. And then it's finally time for the Grinch to steal Christmas. Like, really, before he steals Christmas, we only get one scene with him, and then he steals Christmas. That's like, I don't know. That's just really interesting that they chose to give that focus to the Who's. And I think you were saying after we got out of the show, is that it creates kind of a specialness to when the Grinch is on stage, not on screen.
Yeah.
There's something unique and fun and exciting about it. But that doesn't make the Who stuff any worse. And I think one of the things the show does is it tones down how bad the Who's are. I think the whole with the live action movie it made the Who's the absolute worst people imaginable. The whole point of that is that the Grinch and Cindy Lou have to teach the town a lesson that Christmas doesn't. There's this great scene where the Grinch gives a speech after the party kind of goes haywire. And he's like, all your gifts, all these things that you're obsessed with, where they all end up? They all end up with me in the garbage. All the bad neckties, all these things that you're putting so much focus for Christmas on, it all comes to me, and then the Who's kind of have to reflect on how they've been treating Christmas. I don't get that sense in here. There's a little bit of that with Cindy's family's a little too busy, and like Martha May is obviously like, vote me for greatest Christmas decorator. That'll make it an even 10, and she still braggles about Braggles. Wow, that's a new word. She brags about having the strand of twinkling lights.
Down them Braggle Rock.
But, like, the Who's feel much more joyful in the spirit of Christmas.
Yeah.
And that makes the Grinch being bad feel less justified, which makes the show feel more fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the best changes.
And then the mayor. Is it the mayor or is it just an old senile guy?
No, it was the mayor.
Oh, it was the mayor?
Yeah.
There's that little exchange where the narrator's like, and no one loved Christmas more than the Who's, or all the Who's love Christmas the most. And the mayor's like, wait, what?
Oh, yeah,
that memo.
that's just like an old guy. And
he's,
his niece or whatever comes and is like, Grandpa, that's not your house.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a super solid show. If you haven't seen it, get out to Universal and Grinch.
I am thankful that you took me to see it.
I'm thankful that we had the opportunity to see it, and I am also thankful that we have our own Grinch on this show.
Are you talking about me?
Holy crap!
Where did you come from?
I'm not used to... Well, I guess I should be used to sending Balthazar Banshee, shouldn't I?
Yes, you should. I've been here for longer than you have. I know when the mic is off.
Well, you're saying we've been recording off the computer the whole time?
You have. That's right. But that's not my primary gripe with your lazily produced podcast. I'm here because you both have treated me like a Grinch, and I hate it. I hate how you make me feel, how you cut me out of episodes, and I wanted to clear the air.
Banshee, I don't think we ever intended to treat you that way.
Yeah, I mean, I know BB27 earlier said some pretty nasty stuff. I mean, I didn't agree with him.
Yes, BB27 did. But you know what? At least he's here for me. Like a sibling. Unlike you two who are like absent parents.
I don't even know what that feels like. I'm not a parent. But I hear what you're saying, I guess. Well...
Banshee, is there anything that we can do to make it up to you?
Well, you could start by actually featuring me in an episode or two. People want to hear my opinions, and I boost ratings. I don't know why in the world you leave me out.
Well, to tell you the truth, Banshee, I just plan crappily. I just wake up in the morning and I realize, oh no, we got an episode out, and I forgot to book the Banshee.
It takes so much time to put these together, Banshee, and, like, coordination is not either of our strengths.
So we forgot to tell you that we actually planned to make... We realized that, you know, maybe we kind of was leaving Balthazar out. We were seeing comments come up like, where's Balthazar Banshee? And we're actually going to give you the last segment of our Christmas special.
Why, Adam, that warms my Banshee heart. I actually might feel it growing. Maybe I really am the Grinch. My heart's growing. It's growing two sizes bigger. You know what? Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. I love the theme parks, and I'm so thankful for you, Adam and Jonathan. And you too, BB27. It's been a wonderful year, and I'm just so thankful. At least until next year.
This episode has been edited and produced by Adam Johnson and co-created and co-hosted by Jonathan Edward, and has featured Balthazar Banshee and BB27. You can follow us on Twitter at WorkshopTP, at WesleyAsYouWish, at AdamJ_film, and of course, at Disney Banshee. We'll be back in January 2022 with new episodes, but until then, thank you for spending at least part of your 2021 with us. Be sure to subscribe to Theme Park Workshop on YouTube, check out some of our videos while you're there, and check us out on your various podcast apps. And lastly, before we go, we wish you the merriest Christmas and the happiest season with your families, your friends, and, well, everyone you love. Be sure to let them know you care about them today, and just enjoy the time you have together. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Wow.